Okay, you got your recorder on, Morgan? Okay. Do I have a motion then to go back into a public meeting?
So
Do I have a
Seconded.
second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Didn't hear none. We're back into a public meeting. First item on the agenda is the consent items, dealing specifically with the approval of the December 3rd, 2019 Roy City Council meeting minutes with amendments. Any comment, questions, concerns about those minutes? Council?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the December 3rd, 2019 Roy City Council minutes as amended.
Perfect. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you. Those are approved. Our action items, we have a public hearing to discuss the Roy City Water Conservation Plan update. Who's going to present that?
Mayor, maybe I can just start off and give a little
Okay.
bit of background on this. We're required by law to have a water conservation plan. We're also required that every 5 years, we're to have a public hearing and make whatever amendments we may think are necessary to that plan. It needs to be submitted. We found out about this, I think, in December. So at that point, we talked to the people down at the state and said, hey, we can have another, well, let me back up a little bit. At the end of 2019, we needed to submit something. So we talked to them about having a special meeting to approve it, and they said, oh, just send in the plan now. And then when you do your meeting later, submit the resolution to us. So that's what we've gone ahead and done, but this is what we have to do every 5 years, come back here, make any changes that we may have to that conservation plan and submit it to the state. So we've already submitted to the state, so what I would say is that we approve it as is, but if there are some amendments that you see that we should have, we can come back at a subsequent meeting, approve those amendments and forward that into the state. So it's a little unique because of those circumstances.
Okay.
And then Ross is also here. I should say that Public Works and Wasatch Civil Engineering reviewed it, came up with a plan. We've had a plan in place for years, but they came up with some additional changes and everything to this plan that we submitted in December.
Okay, perfect. Okay, comments, questions, council? Okay. Go
I
ahead.
agree that there are a few things that need to be changed, and so we just need to make sure we come back to that at some point.
Right.
Okay. With that then, do I have a motion then to approve Resolution 20-5, which is
Mayor.
adopting the water
We
conservation?
need to have a public hearing, so we're going to have
Oh, I'm
to
sorry,
open this
you're
up to
right.
if there's any public
You're
comment.
absolutely correct. I see it on top. Good point.
Mayor, I make a motion, we go into public hearing to review the Roy City Water Conservation Plan update.
Perfect. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Great. Okay, this is a public hearing session dealing with the Water Conservation Plan update. If you have a question or comment, please step up to the mic. Just give us your name and your address. Anybody? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, any other comments, questions about the conservation plan? Hearing none, council, then, do I have a motion then to approve Resolution 20-5, adopting the water conservation plan update for Roy City?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Thank you.
That we approve the Roy City Water Conservation Plan update, Resolution 20-5, adopting the plan for Roy City.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Perfect, this is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Burrell?
Aye.
Councilmember Paul?
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson?
Aye.
Councilmember Saxton?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, now we just have public comment period. If you have something you'd like to share with us, any subject, any comment, please step up to the mic, tell us your name and address, and share your thoughts with us. Anybody have anything they'd like to share? Thank you.
Jamie Larson, 5574 South, 3750 West, Roy.
I'm just back because word on the street is the council now believes that only the Crossleys and the Standers still care about the assisted living facility, and that is not the case. We are still having issues. The last communication I had had was that I was supposed to be dealing with Alan Robinson, who's the superintendent for PJF Corporation. I had contacted him. He had my contact information. I was told he was supposed to be dealing with the fencing issue and potentially landscaping. Nothing has ever happened. As far as the HVAC, they kind of screened it, but they just barely put it in front of it. So from our house, it's actually worse now because the HVAC is kind of off to the side of where the little fence they put in, and it pushes all the sound now right into our yard. They also now have these pendant lights in whatever room it is that's right above that HVAC system that are bright orbs. They are on 24/7. You can see them bright in the middle of the day. At night, they are extremely bright. We still have trash in the double fence issue. I just am here mainly to let you know it is still a problem. We are still upset. We aren't very happy that the council voted to not help us out at all by hiding it when we kept showing up to meeting after meeting after meeting. And we're told, oh, we'll discuss it later. We'll keep you guys updated. We'll keep you guys updated. And all of a sudden, a meeting happened and none of us knew about it. That doesn't exactly instill confidence in us as Roy citizens. Second point, our speed bump, and I'm specifically saying bump because it is not the hump. Here we'd had this whole issue a year ago. We think we finally have it resolved. Everyone is happy. We have those 2 temporary ones. It's solving the problem. People have been happy with it. You guys go to make it permanent, and what happens? A third one gets put in, and it's completely messed up. It's much, much higher than the other 2. I now have to fix alignment in my car, and I'm pretty sure it's from hitting it that first day after it got put in, because I did hit it at 25, and it was like hitting a wall. It's since I know been ground down, but it's still really high. You pretty much have to stop to go over it. So we're all concerned about that too, and would like that resolved. We don't know why money keeps getting spent on our road when that plan, transportation plan, has shown there's issues a lot bigger, in a lot of other places in the city, and yet for some reason, it keeps being our road, and honestly, a lot of the word is that it's Councilman Paul's street, and that looks pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest with you, Joe. So that is what I have to say tonight.
It's your opinion, you can have it.
I know, but I'm not alone.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, please.
Mayor, members of the council, I'm Mark Bishop. I live at 5664 South, 3700 West. You've effectively silenced me for a lot of weeks with this, having to tell my address. I try to just keep that private, but I'm here because I guess I've kind of had it. And a lot of what I'm here to talk about has just been mentioned, so I'll try and be brief. But, you know, our neighborhood, and by that I'm talking from 3500 to about 3750 west, and 5600 to 5700 to 5600 south. We've had a lot going on. You know, it started with that ill-advised traffic circle, and then a lot of promises were made to the residents because of the Sunridge that hadn't been fulfilled. And I acknowledge that some of those you've been working on, but there are still problems there. And then we went to this traffic hump, well, this bait and switch. We were promised traffic humps and got traffic bumps. Back in November, about Thanksgiving time, my neighbor Jerry Williams came and talked to you about that.
Correct.
And you promised him that you would get back with him with a response. I assume you've done that, but there are more people than just him who are interested in that, and I would like to know what you told him.
You ready for the answer? Okay.
Certainly.
Okay. First thing is that, and it would be very helpful if we make sure that when you walk out here tonight, if there still needs to be further conversation about what's happening, what's taking place, if you can get with Morgan and provide your email address, we surely don't want to keep anybody out of the loop, but it gets more complicated in terms of trying to keep everybody going in what's happening. But let's talk to your question.
Okay.
The original conversation is that the calming circle, which is a discussion I probably don't like talking about much.
And
there
by
was
the
a-
way, we had a different name for it in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think I heard that one too. The issue is the calming circle brought to it a lot of challenges that we were really not prepared to address. I made a statement going into that we said, and by the way, the Highway Commission made it very clear that this is one of the things you run into, is when you did not put this in with the advice and consent for a better word of the public who's going to be most impacted, this is what you can expect to get, and we got a lot of it, as you well know. The decision was made to remove it, and in a public meeting, advertised public meeting, it was decided that the solution really was going to be is we'd put these humps in.
Correct.
That was really the going-in strategy. The temporaries worked. I think they were somewhat satisfied, and we went ahead and made the modifications. The reality is, and same thing I told Jerry, is that what was put in there were not humps. They were, for the better word, bumps. The city recognizes that. A hump typically is a 12-foot across span, has a gradual slope up and a gradual slope down,
Correct.
and probably more effective. And the thing I told Jerry, and I will tell you and anybody else who may be listening, the city has already recognized that we're going to make some changes, and as soon as the weather cooperates, we'll go in and fix all of that on that street. But I also told Jerry, and this is the mayor's position, we're not going to do anything more with 5700 for a long time. I think the
Thank you.
comment was made earlier that there's other places in this city and the transportation plan needs attention, and we're going to focus on the other areas because they do need attention. But we've put a lot of time and effort on 57, and I think it's time we just stop. And that was my recommendation going to the city. That simply says, just stop focusing on that. Fix the issue with those bumps, get them where they're supposed to be, and then let's move on. So that's what I told Jerry.
Thank you.
And I think you just, and I need to share that with you. But if you would, leave us an email so we can reach out, because we have no problem keeping everything transparent. Just sometimes we just don't know. So just make sure we get your email. We'll keep you on the loop of everything that's going on.
Okay,
Okay?
I'm not done.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I assume that I don't know any of you very well. You and I have talked, and I see Mr. Paul occasionally. I don't know you. I assume you're good people. I don't know what's in your hearts. I want to give you the benefit of an awful lot of doubt. But I need to tell you my perception of the latest blessing that we received. So we had the two temporaries bumps in, and then after the election, we got a third one. Very aggressive. Even after you ground it down, it is very aggressive. It's aggressive at 10 miles an hour. And I recognize that you want to keep a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on that collector road that probably should have a higher speed limit. But that speed bump has effectively put a stop sign in that road for those of us who know about it. For those who don't, for those who come, like my son, who comes in the evening to visit me, only occasionally. So here's this very aggressive speed bump that isn't painted like the others so you can see it. It is marked speed hump, so people who see that are expecting a gradual rise and a gradual decline. It appears to me that this was done out of spite. And I think for those people who come down there in the time of diminished visibility, they are ill prepared for the shock to their person or their vehicle. I'm afraid you're gonna hurt somebody. And I think there needs to be action on that hump immediately.
Okay.
And then finally, and you kind of said this, so I'm maybe just repeating, please find another neighborhood to help.
I understand.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I do appreciate the comments. Please, name and address. Thank you.
My name is Frank Weymouth. I live at 1768 West, 5000 South. I have two concerns. One, the address should ring a bell. It's close to the latest airplane disaster. I think you've met with the Ogden Airport manager.
I have.
Would it be possible when I'm done that you convey what was discussed and what solution they're looking at, maybe correcting, 5 accidents in 3 to 4 years is, we feel like we're in the target right in that area. My second concern is, I like your Roy Connection magazine and I look through it faithfully. What can be done? I've highlighted a couple areas. One, parking on the street when there's snow on the road. The other one is sidewalks. The wife and I I'm retired now, we like to get out and walk, and it's somewhat difficult to walk on many of the sidewalks in Roy, including the ones across the street and adjacent to this facility. After a snowstorm, they're very icy. What can be done? We have an ordinance in place. What can be done to enforce that ordinance? That's my concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Could I ask a question on that? It's the icy sidewalks, it's not the maintenance of the sidewalks?
The ice kind of smooths it out, especially if you hit the ground hard enough. No,
Okay.
the maintenance of the sidewalks is another issue.
Okay.
Okay. Name and address, thank you.
David Despain, 1807 West 5000 South, Roy. My wife and I moved here from California in actually March of this year. No one said anything to us when we bought our house, a single-family residence, right behind the building that got the roof hit by the airplane. No one said anything to us that we were in an hazardous zone for low-flying aircraft. And I think something needs to be done with the approach patterns. I've been around aviation quite a bit in my life. And I have airplanes flying over my place when I'm working in the yard or out shoveling snow or whatever. They're coming from seemingly all directions. There seems to be no real order in it. And I've seen people, anyway, some of the pilots need further training. It's obvious, and it's a bit scary. The plane, the twin-engine plane that went down, had it had just a little more elevation, instead of hitting the roof of the house behind us, it probably would have hit our house and killed us. So we are very, very anxious to see that there's something done on it, and you are our only spokespeople we have. And we stand ready to volunteer to help in any way. But especially when I realized that in the paper and stuff that there are schools that are underneath some of this thing too. I am running into hundreds of people every week that are very concerned, and I guess they're not concerned enough to come out here and voice their opinion. But we really need your help. Something has to be done on this scattered, it's like an anthill. They're going every which way. If an approach pattern should be just coming into the airport, they shouldn't be flying this way across an approach pattern. That's all. Good luck on helping us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else has a thought? Okay, let me share just where we are in terms of the issue. Chief has called a meeting Thursday at 6 o'clock, asking for public to come, talk about the issues. We surely are going to, I want to support him in this important discussion. To your question in terms of what I was able to do, I talked to the airport manager. I've asked him to pull FAA expertise out of Salt Lake to bring the mayors basically from the surrounding cities together. He's making arrangements to do that with the FAA. And then we just need to sit down and discuss exactly what our options are, what's happening, and why is it happening to Roy. And hopefully from the outcome of that discussion, which I'm anticipating will happen sometime the week of 10th of February, they're still working that to set up that date and to get all the players there. We will have that dialogue, figure out what's the way ahead, and then try to figure out what we need to do to make it safer. So that's what we know at this moment. We're not an expert at this, but I think the FAA people are experts, and I think they can help us define maybe the way ahead. So as we get more information, what we can and cannot do, then we'll share that with the public and let them know what we've got planned, okay? But we're right on top of it to the level that we can, okay? Thank you. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay. Then we'll go out of the public comment period. This is time for the city manager, or in this case, the city attorney report. Anything you want to share with us, Andy?
I really don't have much to share with you. In fact, I don't have anything to share with you tonight. You probably all know the city manager is going to be gone until, I think, through the end of this week, and then
Right.
he'll be back in the office Monday. So I don't know of anything upcoming other than we do have that meeting, and I think you can all address that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, council report, anything you want to do, anything you're thinking of?
I
Ideas?
just wanted to comment on the sidewalk. I don't know if they have 12, supposed to have 12 hours, or supposed to have to clear their walks off.
I think that's what the ordinance is 12
Yeah.
hours after the storm.
Yeah.
I had mentioned to the manager about putting that in the newsletter about, that it is in there, that
It's in there.
that notification maybe of people who, or elderly, or, you know, not able to clear their walks, that I would love, you know, for us to help those people. But people like apartments, you talk about those apartments across the street from Roy City that, you know, I mean, those should be cleared. But I know there's some people like in my neighborhood that aren't physically able. So I think there should be somewhere we could reach out to somebody, you know, and know their circumstances, why they haven't been, you know, the walks haven't been cleared, and maybe help them in some way. Form some kind of a committee or something to help those. I don't know if it's a code enforcement issue neither. I don't know. We need to figure that out, because I think it's a very important issue, and I'm always afraid of falling also on walks that aren't cleared.
This includes businesses and single-family homes.
Yeah.
Right.
And apartments.
There,
Yes.
You go right up Roy, there's
just so,
businesses that don't.
Yeah.
so you're aware, the code enforcement officer was out and did hang warnings for future citations on several doors, because I got phone calls. And so I know they're out, I know they're looking, but, and I know he's a busy guy, probably particularly during this time of year, but they are hanging warnings and future citations on doors, and I think the citation is $100. Isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, that's the first citation.
Yeah, first offense.
So there's a warning prior to a citation, is
Yeah.
that correct?
So what do you,
Hang 'em
could- if you see any places, like, you could always report that to code enforcement. And I think, you know, even if we don't get it in time, at least there'll be that notice there, and so in the future, hopefully they'll do what they're supposed to.
FYI.
Okay. Yeah, good comment. But you're correct, the ordinances are pretty clear what has to be done and when it's supposed to be done. issue would be is we just need to make sure it's enforced. So we'll keep focusing on that. But if you do see an issue, and I think Andy's point's well taken, there's a provision within the Roy website where you can actually go in and file a complaint or file an issue there. That sends it right to the appropriate office, and I think that'd be a good place to start. And if not there, send it to the mayor's corner. I don't have a problem walking down the hall and say, we've got a problem at this location. So tell us where they are if you find them, but we just need to be more active, obviously, at this time of the year to make sure that's cleared. Okay? Council, any other comments? Okay. With that then, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion that we adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Fine. Okay, we're going to jump from this meeting to an RDA board meeting. So you're welcome to stay if you'd like. If not, we want to go ahead and move in a couple seconds over to the RDA board. Okay.
That sign, you can't read it. Joel Paul, okay. There, for some reason, it's just blacked out.
He was probably doing that on purpose.